Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're calling from. As per usual, we're just waiting for lots of people dropping in here, so we're just gonna, give it a few seconds for those folks to drop in. Please familiarize yourself with the chat function. Drop in there where you're calling from, and then we'll just get some polls started. So now let's go, nice and easy. Is anybody? Oh, good. People are seeing the poll because I'm not. All right. So just over half of you attended last week's session. That's awesome. Welcome back. All right, we'll close that one off. We'll launch our next one. So nice, easy question. Are you currently customizing your IQ2 Plus panels? So we've got a couple options there. So for those roughly quarter of the group that didn't know you could, well, it's a good thing we're presenting that today because you will know you can. Awesome. Okay, give that a few more seconds. All right, we'll close that poll off. All right, here we go. Here comes the next one. Nice and easy. Are you taking advantage of the JCI marketing team and what they can do for you? Oh, about 60% are not taking advantage of the tools that our marketing team could offer. So again, we'll show you a few things today that you can potentially get the marketing team to do for you. They're obviously very happy to help and interact with our dealers. So we'll close that one. So about only 25% are taking part and are using JCI's marketing team to their advantage. All right, nice, easy one. Do you have login credentials for Colsys.com/dealers? So you can start to take a look at what we have enabled for marketing, our marketing resources.
Hey Neil, while you're doing the last poll question there, I just wanted to remind everyone to type any questions you have in the question box or in the chat box, and Mark and I will be happy to answer in the background.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you both for covering chat today. That's awesome. So just over 85% already have login credentials from the Colsys dealer site. That's awesome. So we'll just do the one more poll, and then we'll be able to get started. Hopefully our screens are showing up properly. I can't see for some reason. So Joel or Mark, if the PowerPoint's not showing, please let me know.
Okay, we'll let you know.
All right. Are you registered for the weekly marketing workshop series? This also happens Thursdays earlier in the morning than today. So about half, just about half, looks like are currently registered, and a couple don't know how to register. So we'll be sure to send that information to those folks who said they don't know how to register. After the webinar, we'll be able to send that out, and you can register. And great content presented by our marketing team. I think it'd be a lot of value for you. So we're going to close this up. All right. Is the PowerPoint visible? Mark, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. So welcome everybody. This is a quick workshop on how to customize the IQ2 Plus and the IQ Remote. It's going to be a little bit of PowerPoint, a lot using our software that allows us to connect to our panels. So, as always, I'm going to preface it saying if we have any technical challenges, we'll apologize in advance for those. But we'll hopefully get this started. This is so we brought Mark, the third Mark, on to do some presentations today. I think we need to start having some naming contests, change some names. Maybe it's getting a little confusing. But here we go. So, all right. So first things first. Is everybody aware that you can customize your contact info? Right. So there's a couple ways to do this. The first being, you can obviously do it directly from the panel, which we'll show you. You also have this capability to customize your own contact information from the alarm.com dealer portal. So we'll show you that as well. So I'm just gonna flip to the panel first, and hopefully it's flipping.
Yep.
All right, so if anything you want to do from a dealer branding standpoint on the IQ2, you have to use your dealer code. The installer code will not give you access to that, and you'll see a new box when you use the dealer code for dealer branding. All right, so for your contact information, you could obviously enter it all here if you want, whatever you wanted it to say. Put your zip code. We'll say I'm 90210. That's the only zip code a Canadian will probably know. Nice and simple, and you can just hit save, and that's now your contact information. So we also have that same functionality on the alarm.com portal. It is slightly different, in the way it's laid out. So I'm just going to go into this panel. So once you go into your panel, it's a pretty simple process. You can just go My Business and then Brand. Always love live demos. All right, so here's your company description, your logos, all that kind of, it's built right into there. You also have the ability from panel display to be able to go in and change that information yourself, right? So if we go in there, you can change your dealer name, whatever your dealer email address is, country, phone number, your URL. Do you want to then push it to all your existing customers? So you can, choose that as an option, and then every panel will update that's in your portal. Every panel is going to update with that information. If you want to test it, it's really cool. You can just enter your panel ID here, and you're actually able to just go test on panel, and it will send that information directly to the panel, right? So alarm.com will just send that out, it moves pretty quick, right? So that dealer branding, as long as I pick the right panel, I think I did, that dealer branding, where I had my name and my email, will now change to Mark's, again, if I pick the correct panel. No guarantees in life. So let's see. Okay, so it hasn't changed the taglines because I entered those in there. You'll now notice that it's now changed from my phone number to Mark's, and Mark's email address as well, right? So it's really that quick where it'll switch that information over. So I'm going to pass the next slide, I think, to Mark. He's going to kind of explain the rules of the road here on how to load custom logos, and then we'll show you a live demo of it.
Yeah, so we have this option in here that you can load your own company logo onto the panel, and it will replace that envelope in the top right corner. There are some steps that you need to take to make that happen. So with your SD card, you need to create a folder that is entitled Logo, singular. And then your image can be saved as a JPEG or PNG file. The pixel size is 200 by 100, and that's just the space that is available. So you can make a smaller image if your image doesn't fit correctly in that space. If you get the correct resolution right, then less than 200 by 100 will still work appropriately. And then I think we can show that on Visor.
Yep. Okay, so I'm just gonna slide my SD card in there. I've loaded a couple logos already, so they're just gonna start hopefully populating pretty quick. So again, as long as that folder is named properly, you'll be able to load these custom logos. And there we go. Okay, so there's as you notice right now on the top right, we have the Colossus logo all in black. So if I could, if I wanted to change it to the JCI logo, it's literally as simple as clicking those logos you've loaded on your micro SD card and hitting OK, and now the panel will change. Obviously, I can just change it right back to the the Colossus color logo, and it's really that simple how to make that change directly on the panel. I'll do this one, I guess. So, the other option you could have is an on-screen billboard. So you can load and lock up to 4 full-screen dealer photos on your micro SD cards, and they become part of the photo frame saver. So if you only want your billboards to show up, you want to delete all the existing images in the photo frame. And it's, very similar, right? Load the photos onto the SD card, touch on-screen billboard, we'll show it to you live. The key here is they have to be in a folder on the micro SD labeled as billboard, and you have to have 1280 by 800 or less. So I'll flip over there, and we'll back out of that. And I'm going to turn on my dealer branding settings. So I'm going to turn it on, and these should, there we go, on-screen billboard. So I'm going to look at these and go replace all those photos. I'll select them first and go replace all those photos. And it's a pretty quick process. You'll see it'll load them momentarily. Panel's a little slow today. So now if I go in photo frame, I'm only going to have the ability for those 4 photos, right? So all other photos have been deleted. And then you can, have your own custom billboards in there, refer a customer if you wanted to. I mean, obviously, we're using refer a friend or Bluetooth. You can put anything you want in there. Whoops. You can put anything you want in there as long as it meets those requirements. So back to you.
Yeah, and again, with you using your dealer code, you as the dealer only have access into changing those pictures around for the billboard. So if you have a subcontractor, or you're getting a panel installed somewhere else, then you can give them the installer code so that installer is not able to change those images, those billboard images. So here, moving on to loading help videos. So you, as you want to, you can create your own. You can add to what we already have there. And on our Qualsys dealer website, you can grab all of the help videos that we have so that you can download those and put those into a folder entitled videos, so plural for that folder name, so that you can then add in the additional videos that you want. Make sure that your aspect ratio is 1280 by 800 so that it looks appropriate on the panel screen. File type can be M4V, or I believe, Neil, we use the MP4 as well. And the total storage space for the help videos area is 200 megabytes. So
we'll be able to show you how to do that as well. So, and it's, again, our marketing team can help you if you want to, co-brand or brand those videos. You can reach out to the marketing team, and they'll be able to help you, get those videos done, get them out to you in the correct format, and you'll be able to, have your own videos loaded, right? So in this case, I'm going to say replace. These are already loaded on my SD card. I'm going to select all and hit replace, right? So again, don't remove your SD card while copying, but they will easily, move those over. And then, so if these were new videos that you had made, branded videos, you'd just be able to load them on there directly. And these are now the help videos, on your system going forward. Okay, so I apologize for the image. There is no way to, our software cannot connect to our IQ remotes, but we have added a feature in, I want to say in 253, I think it was 253, where you can actually now press download on your IQ remote and then sync any images that you've loaded on your main IQ2 Plus panel directly to your IQ remote. So your IQ remote will look, have the same look and feel of your main panel. Oops.
And your logo will actually sync through to the IQ remote as well.
Correct.
So here, getting into the photo frame area, this is where you can see all of your images. There is a default group of images that are on the panel, and we have several different options that you can download. So if you click that add button, we can tap into different ones like mountains and water to download those from our servers. So you can have a different flavor of options there.
Yeah, so there's all the different options. Oh.
Hey Neil, I actually just had a great question. Where can these instructions be downloaded?
These are actually all in the installation manual for the IQ2, so right from the closest dealer site. All these instructions are in there. And again, this webinar will be available, shortly after on our YouTube channel as well. So again, you have the options here of your default, your buildings, your flowers, right? So by default, I'm sure you've all seen the images. If we wanted to switch to water as an example, you can just click water and say replace all the photos. It'll wait. It's going to reach out to our server. You can see it'll download it pretty fast. And then all of those images will now be, downloaded to the panel. And you'll have the water collection showing as opposed to the standard default images. There we go. And there's all your beautiful water images.
There's also an option to send over Bluetooth as long as you have an Android phone. Oh, I guess that's our last slide. I'm getting ahead of us.
It's okay. It's okay. So what I'll do is, we'll show it on. We'll show it when we get there.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Yep. So I mean, just to, some of the icons obviously play. So if you're testing your photo frame feature, how it's working, your transitions, from that photo frame, you can just hit play, and just test that out. You could obviously remove photos using the delete garbage can button. Add photos, right? So you can add, the Wi-Fi photo sets like we showed you. We'll show you how to add it from Bluetooth. And then obviously, the next one is settings. We get a lot of questions on our Facebook groups and on our tech support groups about the settings, especially as it relates to, nighttime mode and stuff like that. So Mark, I'm going to leave this slide for you.
Yeah. So going through some of the setting options, you can switch the duration time frame, how long that image stays up on the screen. So you have those 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. And then also change the effect of how it transitions to the next image. And then a big highlight here is the nighttime mode. So you can have a start time and an end time for your nighttime settings. Basically, in that very bottom there, you can choose what actually gets hidden at that time. So turn off the display during the nighttime mode. Turn off the voices and also the chimes if you want. So,
yep. Very good. And one thing to note: this functionality does exist on the remote as well, but it has to be set from the remote, right? So whatever you set on the panel, if you want the remote to act in the same way, you're going to have to obviously mimic those settings, or you may have your IQ remote wanting, a different start time or end time. You may want it to display nothing or a photo frame or the weather clock, but you do have that, functionality in both IQ panel and IQ remote.
And if you're wanting to change those on the IQ remote, those have to be done on site only. You can't change those from the partner portal at all.
That's a great point, Mark. You can change IQ2 from the partner portal, but just nothing to do with IQ remote. Right. So, a lot of customers may want to customize their, panel displays, with their own photos or family photos. It's super easy, right? So you can load them directly onto an SD card, like we've shown you with the logo images, and the billboards and the videos. And you just got to go add photos, replace all the photos, and it'll do it automatically. Now there is the functionality, and Mark mentioned this. There is the functionality to send from your phone by Bluetooth, right? So this is a feature that is only available on Android. So it is because it's using the Android native app. It is something that we are looking to add in the near future for for iOS to be able to do it. So I'm gonna unlock my panel and You know, this is even worse. Now I'm doing a live demo and transferring a file at the same time. So this should be fun. So I'm going to my Android phone. I'm going to say I want to transfer by Bluetooth. And I'm going to want to transfer it to my IQ panel. So let's see. Here we go. Love doing things live. Oh, hold on. I'm not even paying attention. You actually have to enable it. It's a good thing we've got a few minutes to kill. We got to enable it from here. So I want to add a photo by Bluetooth. All right. So now I'll try this again. By Bluetooth to my IQ panel. And let's go. There we go. So there's an incoming file for another device you want to accept. I'm going to say yes, I want to accept it. You know, it'll transfer over pretty quick, you know, considering it is using Bluetooth. File transfer view is successful. So now what I did was actually transferred a photo of IQ water valve directly to the panel from my phone, right? So, you know, having that functionality, you know, it's pretty cool to be able to do that. Panel's taking a second to catch up to the visor is taking a second to catch up, but it's really that simple, right? You know, so you can transfer multiple files by Bluetooth. Again, right? And this is where, especially with Bluetooth, because, you know, there's not that required or necessarily required settings as far as pixels and height and everything else. This is where you're definitely going to want to use the play button to be able to make sure that, you know, your photos, you know, vertical, not horizontal, it's being put in correctly and it's showing correctly, right? So
I also did want to note that the SD card needs to be formatted correctly. So it needs to be in FAT32 format. If your SD card is not in that format, you can actually come into the Qualys panel and go into settings and then SD card, and you can hit the button that says erase, and it will format it to be in the correct format for you.
Great point. All right, do we have any questions from the chat, Mark or Joel?
Yeah, Neil, just clarification, when you say SD card, full size or micro?
Micro SD card.
That's a great question. Yeah, I think we need to update the manual to say micro SD. Very good point.
Yes.
Do not jam the plastic into the small slot, please.
Correct. Any other questions on the chat? If not, we're actually ahead of the game. Doesn't even have to be about customizing IQ Reloaded or IQ panel.
Got a question from Jasmine here. How close does your phone have to be to the panel to transfer the photos?
As long as it's in standard Bluetooth range, so I'd say between, you know, say 20, 30 feet, you'll be good. And it'll work it works really well. We are looking, you know, as we start to move down into our, you know, our next generation panels, we are looking at other options. It could be, you know, Bluetooth from both iOS and Android, or maybe, you know, some kind of Wi-Fi sharing app, you know, but we are looking at different options to be able to, you know, to give you, you know, more availability and more options to be able to transfer photos, you know, other than, you know, through Bluetooth or micro SD. That's a good question. Any other questions?
One last one. I may have missed this earlier. How many photos can be loaded on the IQ panel?
4 for the billboard, and then I believe it's 200 megabytes for what is allotted for your images for the pictures to load on there. So whatever you can fit in that folder to get to 200 megabytes.
Yeah, on my personal panel, I've got about I want to say just over 25 custom photos loaded. You know, like I like having, you know, the IQ2 turning into that photo frame at night. I think it's great, right? You know, seeing family photos and everything on your wall, right? It blends in beautifully. Any other questions on the chat? If not, we're actually going to finish a few minutes early.
An unrelated one, Neil. Someone wrote in and said, can you have partitions with wellness yet?
No,
there.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So currently, no. If you have wellness enabled, or sorry, let me rephrase that. If you have well, I guess it works both ways. If you have wellness enabled, you cannot have partitions currently. It is not going to be in 2.6, but there is a request into our software engineering team to add that functionality for 2.7, which would be a mid-year release. All right, no other questions? Well, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get 5 minutes of your day back, which is awesome. And we hope to see you next week. We'll be doing an in-depth overview of Alarm.com's new Smarter Business Temperature Monitoring service and how it works exclusively with our PG9905 PowerG Temp sensors. So again, thanks everybody for your time. We're really looking forward to seeing you next week. Everybody stay safe.